So, thank you, Krishna ma'am, and parents for joining us. As everyone knows, Krishna ma'am is an experienced speech therapist and she has over 12 years of experience uh, in the speech and the language domain. We are glad that she's here to help us with one of the most important concerns that all of us face, which is around developing social communication in special needs children. So, we all know how important social communication skills are for our children for their overall well being and integration into the society. And these skills help our children and otherwise also to interact positively with everyone who's around, build relationships, and navigate through various social situations, which are, a core deficit area in autism spectrum disorder. So, over to you, Krishna ma'am, on this topic, and let's hear from you as to how parents can benefit from the inputs you have around developing social communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Pramodji or Sonia ji, for introducing so well. And welcome all the parents. Hope we are going to make the most of it. Just before we start the webinar, since it is for one hour almost, so I have got these questions. So all the pinpointed question could not be covered. Just clarifying in the beginning itself, I have vaguely covered most of them. At the end, as it might have conveyed to you, you can put the questions in chat box, and then it could be answered more precisely. And today we are going to have the knowledge of what is social communication, what all required for the social communication, and on the basis of language level of a child, right? Because every child has different language level, and very prerequisite of this social communication is language, the verbal language. So on this language, with the language level of a specific group of child, we will be discussing the social communication strategies, right? So before I move on to social communication exclusively, I wanted all, like, by now most of you would be knowing the meaning of communication, right? And speech and language. Still, I'll brief you that when the child starts communicating, as in after 3 or 4 months, child starts having the face recognition, or start looking at the face, giving little bit of gestures. So the non-verbal communication starts as soon as the birth start, as soon as the child is born, in terms of touch, sensation, and the care, the warmth. The non-verbal language starts almost by 3-4 months, as in, like, child understands the gestures, child knows how to communicate through the cry, child knows how to get the things done by crying at different mode. And then the child has to understand that, okay, all the needs can be fulfilled by just communicating in a better way. And gradually it shapes into the language. Initially it is non-verbal, and then it is verbal mode of language, right? So now coming to the speech and language. Speech is something motor, right? Like how to speak or how to make a sound. So it is basically the motor activity of articulators, like tongue, mouth, articulators, the lips, the palate. The different sound has different places to originate. Then we come to language. Like, language has again two parts, non-verbal and verbal. So when we talk about the delayed speech and language skill, there are few kids who fall under the category of non-verbal language delay. There are kids who are in the category of delayed verbal language skill, as in they have the language but not is adequate, right? So now I will be talking about, since this webinar is exclusively centered on social communication, so now I'll be talking about what is communication. Communication is like exchanging the thoughts, ideas, needs, demands. The most basic thing is needs and demands, right? So kids, as soon as the kid has the understanding that this world is going to provide me the things which I need, they start communicating in a way they can at different age level. So first it starts the non-verbal communication, like the crying, pointing, gestures, elaborated gestures, and then it comes to the verbal language, like using the words for different purpose. If they need something, if they demand something, if they want to express their need, they want to know the information, like questioning skill and all those things, right? So I have divided the topic into four parts, like what is the social communication, then what is the prerequisite of social communication, and how to improve the social communication, and what are the practical activities we can do in improving this particular skill, right? So first, if we say that what is social communication, it is a very complex skill as such. I think this is one of the most advanced skill of language, where the child has to use their language for the purpose of different things in the life. It could be need and demands, it could be sharing the feeling, it could be sharing the intentions, it could be sharing their thoughts, it could be like respond to different stimuli from the others. So there is a integrated system of language processing and the pragmatics, as in child should have the words to use it, and then language processing, the understanding of the word for the different purpose, right? Then comes the internal ability of the child to understand and comprehend and interpret the language for themselves as well as from the from the others, as in like when the other person says something and how it has to be interpreted and answered or expressed, that is called the language interpretation skill, right? And then comes the basic cognitive and neurological prerequisite, which cognitive as in like understanding the thoughts of other, understanding the context of the social environment, you where to talk, how to talk, what to talk, whom to talk, and how what to talk to whom. So those are all social aspects, right? So then when comes the social interaction, the vital prerequisite is pragmatic and language, where the child is has have to have expressive and receptive language and the contextual awareness. Then turn taking and topic maintenance, the how to take turn, how to maintain the topic. So this is very basic thing about the social communication. Now I'll be fast, little quickly moving ahead with how to develop the social communication, right? So how to develop the social communication is a big umbrella term. I have just divided grossly into two parts. One, one category of the children who has the intent to talk, as in intent to socialization. But there are other category of kids. Specifically, I am talking about autism spectrum disorder. In autism spectrum disorder, there are few kids who have intent to socialize, but there are few kids who do not want to socialize at all. So one category of kid who don't want to socialize, the other category of kid who doesn't want to socialize. And in that subcategories, there are kids in three basic subgroups. One who have the basic language, that means they can repeat and have 2 to 5 word vocabulary. They notice peers, but they don't understand the significance of it, and they don't want to be in that group, but it's okay for them to be there. The second group is uh, medium language group, which where the child has the ability to use the language for their needs and demand. They like to be around the peer, they want to be with them, but they don't know how to be there. The third subcategory will be with the advanced level of language, where the kid has the basic language. They can put forth the question, they knows how to communicate their feelings, but they don't know the social context, they don't know the social clues and the social rule to communicate socially, right? So now exclusively we're talking about how to develop that, or whosoever is at whatever level, how to go ahead in that level, right? So first and foremost, we think that child is not understanding the things which is not of their need. So one thing we have to understand, that any child, even if they have the language or not, even if they understand the language or not, they understand the basic intent of talk. So when you start talking that what is the pros and cons of socialization, because for the kids with autism, they are least bothered about others. They don't understand the significance of socialization, then why it is important. So for the kids who are at very basic level, they should be exposed to the social environment on a daily basis. Then uh, they should be talked about what kids are doing, and do not expect that they will be responding to it in one or two or three repetitions. So regular social exposure is very important for the kids who are at the very basic level and don't know how to socialize, but they see that kids are playing around, kids are in the school, kids are doing things among themselves. You just parallelly talk about how, why it is happening, what are they doing, use the words which they could understand, कि देखो बॉल थ्रो किया, देखो कैच किया, देखो स्लाइड किया, देखो swing kiya. So they relate the core word and gradually they'll start understanding, but it's a long process. Then you try to focus on playing with these kids at one to one level at home, where they know that two people can do the same activity, involved in same activity. Like you can do the block building, the ball throw and catch, and ring toss. Those kind of games can be done for the these level of groups. Then you have to ask them to follow the instruction with respect to person, because what we do is we always give the instruction with respect to object and the action. We have to give instruction in order to have the person involved in our activity or the in our day to day life, like give this to that person or bring that from that person. Again, you don't have to expect the verbal expression there, because it will take time. Gradually they will understand and then they will pick up with help of language development. But until then you can work on the social cognition, social awareness, social adaptability, that you have to involve other person in the activity as well. And then you have to have those kind of games. So few of the games I will explain on how to go ahead with these kids with the basic language level. Like you can build a tower, and there you can use the word like, चलो ये तुम्हारा रेड कलर है, तुम रेड ब्लॉक से टावर बनाओ, मामा ग्रीन से टावर बनाएगी. आपका सर्कल्स है, आप सर्कल से स्ट्रक्चर बनाओ, मम्मा स्क्वायर से बनाएगी. Like if you have you know the level of the child, and you know what vocabulary the child has, in comprehensive vocabulary, as in what they understand, right? So use those words. And again, do not, it's a very restricted technique, that you do not expect the expression from the child. It's only the comprehension, as in you have to give them the information more than the expectation of कि बच्चा बोलना शुरू करेगा. Child is not going to start as soon as you start playing game or giving them the word. It will take time for them to comprehend, process, go in their cognitive learning, and then it will become functional learning, right? So these kind of thing, then the pretend play is very very crucial, and it is very important as well, in terms ki child picks up it very well, because they see it on daily basis in household activity or in school. So the kitchen set is for the very younger kid. Even you've seen with the typically developing kid, what they pick up in the pretend play first, either the kitchen set or the doctor set, because this is most relatable thing in their environment. So kitchen set you can play, where you again say, चलो हम चाय पीते हैं, because chai is the seen thing in the house. Most of the household um, chai is the one of the basic thing they see on the regular basis doing the adults. Then you can ask them to eat kara do. If you don't have people around, you can possibly use the animals or the soft toys to enact as a person or some character if they like, because most of the kids have some or the other interest, like the animals or the characters. And then you can play the game musical chair, where, or the passing the parcel, where the adult needs to be assistive about the activity ki what to be done. It is only the execution for these level of kids, no expression, and show them visually what to be done. Explain every step. सॉन्ग चलेगा हम पिलो देंगे, सॉन्ग स्टॉप होगा तो हम पिलो दूसरे से नहीं लेंगे, स्टॉप, कीप योर हैंड्स फोल्डेड. और इफ यू आर डूइंग द म्यूजिकल चेयर देन सॉन्ग चलेगा तो हम रन करेंगे, सॉन्ग स्टॉप हो गया तो हम सिट करेंगे. सो कीप द इंस्ट्रक्शंस वेरी क्लियर, वेरी सिंपल, अंडरस्टैंडेबल, एंड ask them to do it with you. They might not be able to do it on their own. There you can do the turn taking thing. If child is at repetition level in this case, then you can do turn taking. Like you can ask, do अब पापा को बोलो पापा दे दो, अब मम्मा को बोलो मम्मा ले लो, अब पापा को बोलो पापा थ्रो, अब आपकी टर्न है बोलो मुझे थ्रो करना है. So those kind of small words you can take as a repetition where child will not do it itself. You have to assist the child. So these are the object. The sole goal of this for this particular category is you have to involve the child, make them aware, make them alert of the environment, and make them do the activity in a group. But we do not ask them to do it by themselves. They are doing the activity in group but might not be doing with the kids. Like block building, my two three kids are doing the same activity but they are doing on their own, not not collectively they are doing it. Like a musical chair, like all of them are running on their own, but they don't have to be in sync with the kids. They have to follow the individual instruction but in the group at the very initial level, right? So second level of group where they have the child has the language, as in they can put forth their needs and demands in words, they can use negation, they can pick up the choices, they can communicate the past thing a bit in words or something. So first and foremost thing, you have to counsel them about be attentive while talking. This is a very basic rule in social communication which you have to teach from the beginning. When child starts talking and child knows the social context and wants to be in them, that why you have to be attentive. If you listen carefully then you can answer, and if you can, like you're going and telling someone open the door, you have to be attentive that what other person said. आपने बोला डोर ओपन, अंकल ने डोर ओपन नहीं किया, मम्मा ने ओपन नहीं किया, तो आपको खुद से करना है या मम्मा को फिर से बोलना है. So you have to tell them that why being attentive is important, right? So being attentive while talking is the basic rule. So kids who can understand auditorily, you can give this instruction auditorily. Kids who need verbal, you can have pictorial form or you can have it written on the paper at different places in your house. Or if you're doing a play date or a group activity with other kids of same level, you can have this rule written on the wall or somewhere, right? So for these kids, you have to have a regular peer exposure in terms of play dates or the group activity. Group activity could be with the peers with the of the neurotypical population. Play date can be with the same type of neuroatypical or delayed population where it is little easy for them to understand the activity because activity will be of their level. Like how you can have this exposure if you have these group activity ongoing in society which does not need a lot of verbal um, outcome, like dance or the taekwondo or these kind of activity. You can send them to these society groups, or and the play date you can do it at home or someone's place or some common area where the kids of same language level can be accumulated. There what you can do is use the questions as basic initiators, right? So social communication means initiating the question and maintaining it. So initiation के लिए you need the question, maintenance के लिए you need the answer. So you have to teach them few basic questions like how are you, how did you come, what did you eat. 4 or 5 basic questions should be in their vocabulary before starting these social groups. And then ask them to listen and answer the peers. Again, when you do this type of activity, there should be one adult or 3 or 4 kids, or if there are more than 3 4 kids, there could be 2 adults. Where what is the role of adult in group activity? Role of adult in group activity for this social communication is the adult has to tell the kid to listen to the peer. For example, if there are three kids and you are playing this bowling game, for example, so all three kids are standing, one kid is moderator, other two kids are standing, then kid has to say आप बॉटल्स को और पिंस को लाइन में लगाओ या सर्कल शेप में लगाओ या ट्रायंगल शेप में लगाओ या स्क्वायर शेप में लगाओ. Then that other two kid has to listen to it. So this is the form of instruction. Or the kid who is moderator can ask who wants to put the pins or who wants to put the bottle. मतलब किसको bottle लगाना है, bottle कौन लगाएगा. Then one of the kid can answer that okay मुझे लगाना है, hands up and says मुझे लगाना है, मैं लगाऊंगा. And then the person who answers has to execute the activity. As in moderator has to give the instruction or ask the question from the rest of the group. Now as an adult, what we have to do is we have to tell the kid to listen to the moderator, the kid who is moderator. There we say what we do usually, we make a mistake कि तुमसे पूछा बताओ तुम्हें क्या करना है. नहीं, that should not be done. What exactly it should be, सुनो तुम्हें क्या बोला. For example, if Shaurya is the moderator, then all the kid has to listen to Shaurya. If kid does not listen once, the Shaurya has to repeat it. Shaurya listen, सबने नहीं सुना, आपको फिर से repeat करना है कि आपने क्या पूछा या आपने क्या बोला, मतलब जो भी question पूछा या फिर जो भी instruction दिया, right? So in any of the cases, the child has to repeat 2 or 3 times. That is technique one. Again, if the child is not listening, because if you have group of 3, 4, or 5 kids, one of the kids will be super enthusiastic, who will be answering or taking the instruction. So kid who is standing beside or in between who answered, he can repeat the answer. अच्छा अथर्व आप बताओ शौर्य ने क्या पूछा था. So the child is again repeating the verbatim of the moderator kid to other kids. So kid has to listen to other kid. It's not the adult will be a moderator to convey the information. If you are moderating it this way, then again the purpose will be not served, in terms that the child will be listening to adult's instruction, not the kid's instruction. So then provide them with the situation specific questions. Like if you're going to have a play date and you will be playing few games or doing some activity, so prepare them कि अगर हम ये करेंगे तो हम ये कर सकते हैं, हम ये question पूछ सकते हैं, हम ये instruction दे सकते हैं, अगर हम ये activity करेंगे तो हम ये instruction कर सकते हैं. So prepare them so that in the social context they are not lost. Because what happens when you put them in the social context, if they don't have content to talk, they are not clear about the situation, they might not be able to correlate the language and the situation. So you have to prepare them for one of these two, that context or the content. So there could be few games which could be used for this purpose, are like bowling game, ring toss game, pretend play, indoor mat games like hopscotch, yoga game. And the purpose for this, or the goal for this language level kids, should be using the language as instructors, answer the asked question to the other kid, completion and achievements or points. Like they have to tell if they are playing the bowling game, if they made 4 or 5 bottle fall through the ball, then they have to say that I made 3 point or I got 3 point, मेरे 2 points हुए, मेरे 3 हुए. So these all should be the target to be expressing in this particular social games. Then coming to group C, where the child has the most of the language, they can communicate one to one. They are like very keen to be socialized. Even they start socializing, like hello, आप कैसे हो, आप कैसे आए. After that, they don't know how to go ahead. The major challenge there they feel is they don't know how to maintain the communication कि इससे आगे मुझे बोलना क्या है. मतलब उस कंटेक्स्ट में उनके पास बोलने के लिए लैंग्वेज नहीं होती है. So there we have to work on their questioning skill and the social awareness. So for this group, these looks very advanced, but there are very complex situation in this group. Like they don't have the theory of mind, they don't know how to take response, they don't have social boundaries, they are not able to take the social cues. As in they don't perceive the needs, intention, demands, or the situation of others. They just have to say their thing. They don't understand that if the person is not answering, if the person is not interested, if the person wants to do that, if person can do that, or this is the social context I should be talking this, इस context में हमें इस तरह की बातें करनी है या नहीं करनी है. तो उनके लिए हमें बहुत सारी सोशल क्यूज पे काम करना पड़ता है. लाइक अगर तुमने ऐसे बोला तो ये तुम किससे बात करोगे, और ये सब आपको मेंटल लेवल पे उनको पहले प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा. इट्स बेसिकली इट शुड बी द डेली रिचुअल that all the social context should be explained to them on daily basis. Like pick one social context and explain them ki in this particular social context what you are supposed to do and what type of questions you are supposed to do, what type of answers you are supposed to do. If someone asks something, what all can you say? If some, for example, if they ask you what did you eat today, that is okay to ask. If they ask you not the questions which is needed, then you cannot answer all the things and how to say no to that question. And even if you can, if you want to ask, you have to ask these type of question, and you cannot repeat the question over and over again once they have answered. Then you cannot go ahead with asking the same question to everyone. You have to know that whom to ask what. For example, if you meet someone, some far relative, तो आप उनसे पूछोगे आप कैसे हो, आप कैसे आए हो, आप क्या लोगे, आप अपनी कुछ चीजें बता सकते हो, लाइक दिस इज माय फेवरेट थिंग, मुझे ये करना है. बट यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू टेल ऑल द थिंग्स यू वांट. और फिर यू हैव टू टेल देम. आप देखो कि सामने वाला आपको, आप में इंटरेस्टेड है या नहीं, एज इन वो आपको रिस्पॉन्स कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है, या अंकल या आंटी ने बोला बेटा 1 मिनट वेट कर लो, या अंकल और आंटी किसी चीज में बिजी हैं, वो फोन पे बात कर रहे हैं, वो किसी को मैसेज कर रहे हैं, दो एडल्ट्स बड़े लोग आपस में बात कर, देन यू हैव टू वेट फॉर योर टर्न टू, sorry, wait for your turn to talk to them. So that is one. Then ask them how to take response from the peers, because adults still they respond comparatively better to this delayed kid, but peers they don't. There are things which they don't, because the kids with delayed speech and language, they don't follow the social rules, which is very awkward for the neurotypical kid, and they have not been in a situation precisely to how to react to them. So what they do, they just keep these kids aside. They form the group, they leave them, and then they don't want to talk to them. There are very few sympathetic kids who wants to be with them, they care about it. So in that social context, what you need to teach your kids is like, जब आप किसी से बात करते हो तो you have to make a eye contact whenever you are talking to the peer group. अगर आप आंखों में देख के बात, फेस पे देख के बात नहीं करोगे तो लोग आपकी बात नहीं सुनेंगे. Second, you have to call that person, as in you have to name the person and then talk. If you go and tell मुझे eraser चाहिए, then who will give you eraser? You have to ask specifically with name, and if you don't know the name, you can ask आपका नाम क्या है और क्या आप मुझे eraser दे सकते हो, मैं अपना eraser भूल गया. So this is a basic social communication which you have to establish and tell um, tell them कि if someone says no, you have to accept it. Or someone says, for example, if you ask a eraser and someone says कि मैं आपको eraser नहीं दे सकता, then you have to accept it. If you say please give me eraser and someone says that अभी मैं थोड़ी देर बाद दूंगा, तो you have to wait it. If you say प्लीज मुझे इरेजर दे दो और समवन से आई डोंट हैव अ इरेजर, आप किसी और से जाके मांगो, तो फिर से आपको किसी और से मांगना पड़ेगा, आप किसी और आदमी से नहीं, उससे बार बार नहीं पूछ सकते हो. So these are the social contexts you have to explain the kids repeatedly in all the situation. If it is, if it is, then what you have to do, what you have to do, what you have to do. And that should be a very religious regular process. Do it religiously every day. Every day means every day, then only it develops. Because having them a cognitive understanding and making it functional are two very basic challenges we face. Like if you ask most of the kid, हमें ये करना चाहिए, they will say no, नहीं हमें ये नहीं करना चाहिए. Excuse me. But when it comes to doing this, they will do it again. So there are two type of learning. One is cognition and another is functional. So most of the kids have that cognitive skill, cognitive learning, but they are not coming to the functional learning. How it happens? Like gradually you have to make them aware of the fact that it has to be executed. Knowing them knowing itself is not enough, and gradually it happens. If you do this, you will see a tremendous improvement in the child, and you have to follow this at home as well, like on regular basis. That these are the communication rule we follow at home. You cannot keep asking the things over and over again. You cannot do the things which is being said no to. You have to take response when you inform someone something or question someone something, or if you share your feelings or thought to someone or something. So teaching these kids with the higher language level, taking the response is a task which takes time, patience and perseverance. So it should be a daily ritual. Do it religiously every day and you get the result. Not now, but gradually you will start seeing the results with the regular exposure. So now I'm talking about the games we can play with them. Okay, so before going ahead, I just wanted to emphasize on the games I have been talking for all this level, because when kids are together, they are together with a medium. They cannot be together sitting and chatting, because what kids do, kids has when kids are in a group, they play some sort of game. It's not always the visual tangible game, but they play some sort of game, be it mind game or the pretend play or the role play or some kind of game. For these kids with the delayed speech and language category, or the kids with autism, they need, their learning is bottom up learning. We have a top down learning, they have a bottom up learning. As in, what we do is we hear, we understand and we do it. With the kids with ASD have a different processing. They do it, they see it, they hear it, then they understand it. So their hierarchy of doing things are different than us. So we have to understand the fact that if there is no medium to communicate, they will not communicate. They will not understand why it is being done. So games are important. So whenever you are planning to go ahead with the social communication, make a structured setup. Excuse me, structured setup or a set of people, and don't keep changing the set of people for set of friends for these kids, because adaptability is very difficult skill for them. It takes time for them to get adaptable to the environment or the group of people or the tone of the people. So if you keep changing the place or the set of people, it is very difficult for them to learn the skill, because one, they will be struggling with the adaptability and then they will be learning the new skill. So both of them together will be very difficult for them to cope. So one should be fixed and the other should be worked. And since target is social communication, so we cannot work more on the adaptability. So work on adaptability first, make the adaptability specific, and then work on the social communication. So game is very important because they do it, they see it, they hear it, and then they understand it. So game has to be the center of the skill. If there is no game, it is very difficult for them to make them understand the situation and do the or learn the skill. So for this level kids, what you can use this, the pretend play. Now the pretend play does not need to be the kitchen set or the doctor set. So there could be different role play kind of thing, right? So they can be something, they can be like by now kids who are at this level, they have different interest in different areas. You can figure out the common interest, and then you can set up a pretend play game, role play game, sorry. So for example, most of the kids of this level can be watched has been watching these videos in their childhood. So like old MacDonald, for example, if we pick up, or Five Little Duck if we pick up. So chalo, we'll do Five Little Duck activity. So Five Little Duck activity, like we have like five kids who are ducks. Then we say five little ducks went up on the hill. So all the people who are like, they pretend to be duck, they will be going that side. Then the only four little ducks came back. So now there is a comprehension of language. Ki four little ducks came back and one has to stay there. So what you can do specifically in that is you can you can write on their hands, or you can what you call it, stick the numbers on their uh, clothes or hands, and then four little ducks. So only 1 to 4, and you have to explain the language at every level, that 1 to 4 kids has to come and fifth kid will stay other side, and there should be some symbolic representation of hill. Like you can draw the hill, or you can have some picture of the hill, or the some place which you can make a hill. So those kind of things has to be representational use, not exactly actually, but the representational use. So there also you have to be little creative, and then you have to make them role play that, right? So these kind of multiple active, old MacDonald, Five Little Ducks, Humpty Dumpty. Then there is small stories like Lion and the Mouse, and those kind of stories can be used as a role play, and use a lot of language there. Use as in not you or me. The kids has to use the lot of language. Even you have to repeat the instruction. Make other kids say the instruction to other kid, not the adults are saying or instructing or questioning the kid. That is very important in the social communication skill, that kid is listening to kids, kid is answering to other kid, kid is informing other kid is debating with other kid, like no तुम यहाँ नहीं कर सकते, ये तो हिल नहीं है, हिल तो इधर है, तुम वापस क्यों आए, हमें 4 तक ही आना था, तुम नंबर 5 हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ वी आर डूइंग फाइव लिटिल डक एक्टिविटी, right? And then comes this lots of cognitive game, like memory game, Simon Says, Sudoku game. And there you can have a 2 people 3 people setup, like 2 kids 3 kids, and one kid says, and the turn taking starts there. So when you have to start the turn taking activity, if you're doing, you work with these cognitive games. That is very helpful. Like make the 2 kids or 3 kids sit on the table, chair, or a mat, and then provide all the kids with different language structure, like what is their part to say, what is their like second kid's part to say, what is third kid's part to say. And that way they understand that which part of language or which format of sentence to be used in which condition. Like now अब मेरी टर्न है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल किसी ने डाइस रोल कर लिया किसी गेम में, अगर स्नेक लैडर खेल रहा है, तो अब मेरी टर्न है, मैंने डाइस रोल कर ली, नाउ इट्स योर टर्न, आपकी टर्न है, आप डाइस रोल करो. देन द किड सेज मेरा 6 आया, देन द अदर किड सेज, तो 6 हाउस आगे चलो, 6 स्क्वायर आगे चलो. And again here, since the kids have their indicative language and the language is not fully flourished, so what you can do is use the word according to kids level, right? Kids level, as in if they say if we're playing the dice and sorry, snake and ladder, and if we say ki have 5 houses, some kid says ki okay आप 6 आया तो 6 तक चलेंगे, some kid say 6 आया तो 6 स्क्वायर चलेंगे, some kid say 6 आया तो उसमें बहुत सारे में कलर्स होते हैं स्क्वायर्स में, तो हम ग्रीन रेड ब्लू येलो पे चलेंगे. तो बहुत सारे किड्स के अपने अपने इंडिकेटिव लैंग्वेज हो सकते हैं, तो गिव देम द फ्रीडम टू यूज द वर्ड्स फ्रॉम देयर वोकैबुलरी बट context specific, right? So that is one. Then use these social games, right? Social games as in you can have these hopscotch or yoga mat or these there are lots of mat game you can find out on Amazon, or if you can think of something else like the hide and seek, the treasure hunt, those kind of things. So there what you do is, if you have a group of 4 or 5 kids, assign one game every, like if you schedule 2 play dates or 2 group activity per week or 1 group activity per week, so prepare one kid with one particular activity and he becomes the moderator and most all the other kids follow them. And there it should be more than activity. Again, the activity is just the medium, so more than activity there should be use of social language like questioning, answering, sharing the affirmation, the feelings, the thought. Like if someone does something wrong, the kid is supposed to observe and point it out and tell it to other kid that okay, for example, they are playing hide and seek, and one person is counting. They are the one person is runner, the other are supposed to be the hiders. So if we have decided that these and all are places to hide, and some kid is not hiding at that place, and some kid is like just seen from the place, the other kid who is smart enough can tell, तुम्हें यहाँ खड़ा नहीं होना है, तुम्हें हाइड करना है, हाइड करने की ये जगह है, whatever the places you have decided, behind the door, beside the fridge, under the curtain, or near the bed, whatever you have decided. So you can use lots of social language there. Keep one activity at one meeting and use a lot of social language in that, right? Then comes this instruction and questioning. So when kids at this level are having this skill that they can instruct and they can question, very important how to take response from the peers. Like he says something and the kid sitting in front does not answer it, then you have to tell them the strategies. So if you said someone कि यहाँ से उठो, did that kid hear that? अगर उसने नहीं सुना तो आपको क्या करना है, जाके फिर से रिक्वेस्ट करनी है कि प्लीज सुनो. अगर उसने सुना और उसने डिनाई किया कि नहीं मैं नहीं उठूंगा, तो आपको क्या करना है? अगर वो किड साइड हो गया तो आपको क्या करना है? अगर नहीं साइड हुआ तो, और 2 बार बोलने पे भी नहीं साइड हुआ तो आपको क्या करना है? So social context में you have to provide the different language at different places, right? And at this level, what I want to tell you that there will be a lot of differences which are accommodated in this social communication skill. They will be facing a lot of judgment, a lot of bullying, a lot of difficulty in making friendship. Because socialization is a very difficult and tiring task for the kids with ASD. They will be anxious to go in social situation. They will be feeling frustrated. They are, when kid is little smart enough and have the self identity problem, they want to stay alone, isolated than being there. So very important when putting our child into the social context, we have to tell them the pros and cons of it, right? As if it happens, then what you to do, if it does not happen, then what to do, and most importantly, how to deal with the negation, bullying, and this rejection. Because there are few kids who wants to be in the social group, they have the language, but since they don't take the social cues, they don't know the social boundaries, they are not able to effectively socialize. So because of these things, they are sometimes left alone, isolated, and bullied, and given negative comments, then they get really frustrated. So these all things has to be taken care, kids who have these type of the advanced understanding of language. Last but not the least, the questions I have read got from the parents. So Okay, so we will be not talking anything about the speech and language here because this is exclusively about the social communication.
Yes, ma'am, I get
Yeah.
it. A lot of questions
So
in the
yeah, a
chat.
lot of
Yeah.
questions there in the chat box. I think collectively I have addressed most of the question. If you find anything specific, any person who doesn't feel that their question have been answered, possibly they can rewrite or they can unmute. So yes, if you can allow, they can unmute. But the question which has not been covered.
Yeah, so I would suggest that around social communication, if anyone has any questions, just put it in the chat box. Ma'am, there is one question, and before
Hmm.
we come to that, I have
Hmm.
a very generic question because we've
Hmm.
spoken about teaching kids how that they should ask questions, and we could probably model it for them. This is for kids who are verbal. If we want to inculcate socialization in kids who stay non-verbal, so what would be the best strategy? Will it be PECs, AAC, or if you can add some light on that? Because majority of the kids in the spectrum stay non-verbal.
I don't say that majority, but yes, there are group of kids, like
Okay.
30% of the kids are non-verbal. See, still I will keep them in the first category, subcategory of group A. Right. Again, you will have the kid, the in that non-verbal category, there will be two types of kid. One who will be intending to be with the groups. They enjoy being with the kids, but they don't know how to communicate. And the other category who are okay, fine, the people are there, but I don't need to be there. So it's null and void for them. The social context is null and void for them. It's okay, you are there, but you are not an important factor for me. So pushing the kids who doesn't have intent to talk, it is very difficult, right? So what you have to do is don't force them. Parallelly, you can tell them that if you be with these people, you can play these games. Show them the things the peers are doing or the little smaller kids are doing and how they are enjoying it. So counseling is very important. And why is it done? And the kids who have intent, you can help them. If complete non-verbal, then you don't have an option, you have to go with AAC. So AAC mean there should be a card of social cues, right? One is for the from the kids, the kid who is non-verbal, and other card should be expressive card where the how the kid is expressive. Like someone says, if he is showing card to other, and that shows playing together, and the other kid says no, then kid should be able to accept that and show that card of it's okay or thank you or we can try next time. So ASC itself is a form of language. So first you have to work on ASC and then you can use it on socialization, because that is way too more complex using for the socialization purpose than the verbal language. So when the child is thorough with ASC, then you can use them in the socialization purpose. Other than that, if the child has better understanding, the receivers group, the kids who are around, they are supposed to be more receptive about the kids. Like if they don't talk, they can instruct, they can let the child play one or two repetition of any game they are doing, or you can request them कि बेटा इसको भी एक बार करने दो अपने साथ, एक बार एक दो बार इसको करने दो, फिर ये चला जाएगा. So when gradually child sees that wow, wow, like what a pleasure playing with the peers, or they let me do that, they did not corner me, then gradually the sense develops. Okay, I should also be doing that. So even they are non-verbal, they can pretty much do the carry out the activity. But ASC, the child has to again thorough with the ASC, and then social clues card should be included in ASC. Like wherever you are taking training or you are doing it itself, you have to make the contextual card, and then it can be used.
All right, thank you. So, Amit Shukla ji, you can unmute yourself to ask a question as long as the question pertains to social communication.
Yes.
Right. Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon, everyone. Ma'am, I have a very quick question for my daughter, six years of age. Ma'am, we are trying to pick one sport for her so that she can, engage in that sport to increase her focus, concentration, and socializing. Ma'am, we have identified swimming, football, and skating. Which one would you recommend, ma'am, for her, maybe 5 days or 4 days a week for an hour, so that he can, increase the focus and increase the socialization, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, out of all these, I really none. But if you want to still choose one, football would be the better option, because in all these thing you can work on the social non-verbal social interaction. There is not much scope of verbal social interaction. So for social interaction purpose, the game that should be ideally picking up should be the game which requires the language, right? So basically we say indoor games, tabletop games, or the mat games. These are the activities which requires a lot of language. That will be recommended. Out of these three, least possible, the most possible thing I think is the basketball, where other kids can instruct the kid, or the she can respond in a way, मुझे करना है, मुझे भी दे दो, तुम क्यों आए, if she is at questioning level or something, because skating and swimming doesn't have any social purpose in terms of verbal language.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, is there any other question?
Yeah,
Hello,
moving on.
madam.
Yeah.
Myself, Ashwini Deshpande. My son is 15 years old now. He has some fixed ideas, madam, fixed patterns of routine. He is autistic. How to change these fixed patterns, madam? And he is
Ma'am,
not following
adaptability.
commands. There is a very difficulty in changing the routine of his anything he put there. We cannot place it anywhere. He is very irritable, first throw tantrums. So how to change his fixed routines or fixed patterns in autism?
Okay, so this is a question very out from this topic, but still I'm telling you, this is a part of OCD which should be gradually done with the help of uh, adultering the routine gradually. Start with the one thing for 1 month, one particular habit for 1 month, and start from 5% of adulteration, 10% of adulteration. For example, if the child thinks that shoes should be here, then start putting, if his shoe place is shelf number 2, then start putting it shelf number 1 or shelf number 3. So that's how gradually you have to do it. That is mostly the part of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, that they want to do the things in their own. Now coming to instruction following, since he is 15, it is very difficult to now taking him under the pressure. Gradually you can explain him pros and cons of doing it, and it will take a very long time, but it will be helpful why you have to do this, and if you do this, then what all the positive and negative side of it, and if you don't do this, then what all positive and negative side of it. So if kid is 8 plus, all like for all the kids, verbal, non-verbal, less verbal, more verbal, whatever is there, 8 plus kids have to have a very clear social or contextual rules, and there should be a reason to it. You're supposed to explain them why it is done and why it is not done. If it is said, if something is said no, then why it is said no, and if you do this, then what will happen, and if you do not do this, then what will happen. And gradually this what do you call it, explanation or the um, uh, feedback will help them. It takes little longer, but actually it helps.
Ma'am, I have a
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Ma'am, I have a question. Like my daughter is verbal, and but the thing is, when we go into, she is she's good in academics, but when we and she answers the teachers looking in her eyes. But when we go to play, means with our peer group, what happens is at home also, the neighborhood children. So what happens is she doesn't give them the eye contact. She gives the eye contact to me. She gives the eye contact to her teacher. But mostly she doesn't, 8 out of 10 times she would look to the other side and talk. And when I force her to see the face of the child, what I mean to say is she writes well, she copies from the board very well. So the hand eye coordination or जो eye exercises, hand eye coordination, वो तो सब perfect है. But with the kids, no matter how many times I tell her to give the eye contact, she mostly doesn't give the eye contact. Or if the uncle or auntie is there, supposedly an unknown person comes, she would say good morning, she would say hello, she would say namaste, but she will not give the eye contact. So what could be done in this respect? And even in case of play also, she would say peekaboo or I spy, but eye contact nahi deti.
Okay, so see, This is your daughter is completely verbal. She has the basic social skill. She is there. She is liking to be in the group or answering to the adults, whatever. So this is her social anxiety, right? So she avoids doing things,
Yes.
avoids giving eye contact because it stresses her out. So gradually you need to work on. You have to ask her कि अगर आप किसी के eyes में देखते हो तो what do you feel, and if she cannot answer in words, you can give her the options, and whatever options she chooses, gradually you have to explain her. Looking into eyes, why is it important? So if I talk to you and I look at the wall, how would you feel? राइट सो उनको धीरे धीरे आप ये समझाओ कि आई कांटेक्ट वो क्यों नहीं दे रही हैं, उसके पीछे रीजन क्या है, और वो देने के क्या क्या फायदे हैं. लाइक इट विल बी मोर इफेक्टिव, पीपल विल मोर keen to talk to you, they'll more keen to answer you. So these kind of counseling has to be done for her.
ओके मैम, बिकॉज दिस आई एम अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट उसको एंजाइटी है. अगर वो मतलब मैं फोर्स करती हूँ कि आई में देखो तो वो रूल्स भूल जाएगी या और कुछ भूल जाएगी. लेकिन माय क्वेश्चन है, शी इज लुकिंग इनटू द ब्लैक बोर्ड, तब तो नहीं प्रॉब्लम होती.
Because again you are confusing with the board with the people, right? What is the problem with ASD? The core problem with ASD is interaction with the people. ASD people are not like they don't want to interact or they don't want to be in the social group, but they don't want to be part of it. They enjoy being on their own because it is not very significant. Social contexts are not significant to them. तो स्ट्रेस उनको बहुत ज्यादा स्ट्रेस है, तो रीजन फिगर आउट करो और उस पर काउंसिल करो और आस्क हर कि अच्छा ठीक है, आज पूरे दिन में आप किसको आई कांटेक्ट दे के बात करोगे? आंटी को, अंकल को, फ्रेंड को, जिस जिस सिचुएशन में वो नहीं देती है ना, वहां पे आप उसको एक रूल बनाओ, वन थिंग एट अ टाइम, and do increase every like 2 goals for the next 10 days, 3 goals for the 15 days, and do it like that कि आप किस social context में आप उससे eye contact दिलवाना चाहते हो, and go slowly, don't force her because she'll start withdrawing. कि उसी से पूछो what whom she wants to give eye contact and talk to.
मतलब 1 person at one time कि मतलब
One
या
person in one day. Start at 1 person in one day and then gradually increase. Every day you have to talk to one person, looking into their eyes. So who that person will be, your friend, your neighbor, or whatever it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so is there any other question?
Hello, ma'am. My name is Preeti. So I wanted to ask a quick question regarding my son, who is 3.5 years old. So recently, like he has started developing his receptive language. So he understand like what questions and what is the color, shapes, etc. I ask about different objects. But from a social communication point of view, so obviously he goes to nursery, like there he tends to play like in his own way, and teachers, they try to basically interact, try to make him interact with the other kids as well, but again it's coming very very slowly. So at home, like from my side, will it be should I start like with a group of, like as you were explaining, 3 4 kids, or is it good to start like with one, start developing that kind of connect with like one kid, for example, at home, like doing play date, or is it always like good to introduce them to a bigger group, let's say 3 4 kids at a time?
Okay, so one basic thing you have to do is take him regularly to the park for the social exposure. Explain the things which kids are doing around, like one group of kids is doing one activity, another is doing another activity. Take few of the objects which he wants to play with the kids, anything, any of his favorite toy or something. Make them indulge in one of the group for one or two repetition of any activity, and then start with 1 or 2 kid at home, and gradually you can increase the number of kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah, so are we done, or is there any other
Do
query?
we have any more questions? We have one in the group, but I think that has been answered. That
I
Swagiti
have
has
tried
asked.
that. I have tried to answer most of them.
Yeah.
Just let me check if
So
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, can I have a question?
Yes.
Ma'am, my son is 10.5 years old, mildly autistic child. He's in grade 5 now. He was non-verbal since up to 6 years, and then onwards he spoke actually, but he was not communicating. He had speech, but verbal communication was not there. He was always pointing to the objects and all. And later in his after his first class only, he started talking to others verbally. Previously, he was only using one word or two words, but now he can speak very well. The problem is he is speaking too much about whatever happens negatively at school. That means at school bus, in school bus or in school, whatever a small thing that is he doesn't like, then he'll be talking about the same thing throughout the day after coming from school. Nothing he speaks about anything good happened to him. So if I ask about anything good, he says, no, nothing was good. Everything is bad only, he says. So,
Okay, so that is a part of routine counseling, that what you do is you and your husband and whosoever are in family make a typical routine in a house, that one at a time you all sit together and share two negative, two bad thing, one good thing.
okay.
Right, all of you. And
Okay.
don't force him to explain discuss the good thing, just let him be at bad things. And this should be a very religious practice for every day. So your husband can talk two
Okay.
bad thing about the office, one good thing about the office. You can talk two bad thing about house and one good thing about house, and gradually mold it to the level where he starts talking at least one good thing in 5-6 days or even in a week, and then gradually
Okay.
go ahead. Okay, I think are we
May
done?
I ask something?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Guys, we are going
I
to
have
take
Okay,
one
ma'am.
last question. We are almost on time, so just
Thank
one
you.
last question. Okay.
May I ask Sonia?
Yeah.
Ma'am, my son is 7.5 years old and he keeps regressing regarding speech and communication. What is the ideal thing to do whenever he's like from sentences he goes back to one word? If he has come back to one word, what is the right strategy to apply at that moment? Should it? I do use mainly declarative language. It's more of playful and easygoing things in those days. But what are the other strategies I have to take care of during times of regression?
Okay, so ma'am, I tell you first, you have to find out the root cause. That regressions are of two types. One is situational regression, because of some emotional setback or the weather change, when the gut bacteria goes up and down, the good bad bacteria ratio. So that time most of the kids shows little bit of regression in language. One which is like once or twice in a year. There other which is very recurrent and periodic, like if you see every 2 month, 3 month or 4 month, there will be a change in this thing. So that you need to find the root cause of it first, that if there is a silent seizure or those kind of any neurological conditions, so please go to pediatrician or the developmental neurologist and figure it out, why is it happening. That is the first and foremost thing you need to do, and just take care of that. If it is because of gut, please work on the gut, so that next time when the weather change or some other thing happens, the gut is clean and stable and balanced, and gut is detoxified, so these changes does not happen. And coming back to your problem, that what to solution and what to do at that time, you have to work on the wherever the child is next level from that. So if child is at one word, start using the stimulation which brings the child at the level of phrase, or if child is at the need or demand level, work on the skill which brings the child to the level of two-way communication. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. And his clarity also goes down a lot.
Yes,
So
that's
shall I
why
keep coming back to phonics clarity and everything
no,
again?
ma'am, that won't work. No, because you see that's
Okay.
a regular pattern. So you have to work on his internal part also. Only language stimulation won't work, and if it works, it will be very slow. So you have to look into
Okay,
other
ma'am.
aspect also.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Most welcome.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for putting your questions across. And thank you so much, Krishna ma'am, for having this session. It was very helpful. And we'll conclude now. Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you all for giving your important time. Hope it was a little bit of use of you all for you all.
Yes,
Take care.
ma'am, it was wonderful. Thank
Yes,
you, ma'am.
definitely useful,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you so much.